A vector is an object which has the direction and the magnitude. We can denote the vectors with the small Latin letters like this, and at the same time we can denote the vectors using the 2 points, A and B. So our A point is going to be called the starting point, and the B is the ending point. So in this video we're going to talk about how to add and subtract the 2 vectors geometrically. So we can move the vectors into any place on the coordinate system unless we're not going to change the direction, neither the magnitude of the vector. So unless you don't change the direction or the magnitude, you can place this vector to somewhere else, and this is going to be the same vector. So let's say we're given 2 vectors, U and V, and we would like to add them. So we're given the U vector and the V vector, and we would like to add them. So in order to add the 2 vectors, we need to place the second vector to the end of the first vector, right? So unless we don't change the direction and the magnitude of the vector, so when we say the magnitude of the vector, we mean the length of the vector, right? So unless we don't change the length and the direction of the vector, we can place it here. This is going to be V vector, and the third vector, which is going to be the connection between the starting point of the first vector and the ending point of the second vector, is going to be the summation of the U and V. It's going to be U plus V vector, right? So this is how we need to add the 2 vectors geometrically. So there is another method which is called the parallelograms method. So where if I would like to add the 2 vectors, we need to place the 2 vectors to start from the same point. This is going to be V, right? So unless we don't change the direction and the length of the vector, we can put this to somewhere else, to any place. So we're going to start the both of the vectors from the same place, and we're going to build a parallelogram. So we can draw the parallelly this vector and this vector, and the diagonal of the parallelogram, which is going from between these 2 vectors, it's going to be the addition of the U and V. Okay, so now let's discuss how to subtract the vectors. So if we're given 2 vectors, U and V, in order to subtract them, we need to start them from the same point. So this is going to be U, and this is going to be V, and the vector, which is the subtraction of the U from the V, or V from the U, that's going to be the connection of the ending points here. So depending on what kind of operation we're doing, it is going to have the opposite 2 different directions. For example, if I would like to write this down as a U minus V, then this vector is going to have this direction. Okay, so if we would like to write this vector as the V minus U, this vector is going to have this direction. Again, when we draw the vector, direction of this vector is going always from negative vector to the positive, right? So if we would like to write this vector as a U minus V, then minus V, V actually is our negative vector, so the direction of this vector is going from the V to the U. So if you would like to write down the vector V minus U, then this vector is going from the U to the V, from negative V to the positive, from negative U to the positive V.